The story you are about to hear is true.
We have been married for over 7 years. Together, 10 years. We were high school sweethearts. Our marriage has always been good. We have never once had to question one another's trust. My wife followed me while I was in the military. The whole time I was serving, she was going to college online. After she completed her bachelor degree, we flew back home for a week of vacation and to see family. While there, she found a job posting for her dream job. She showed it to me and we talked about it. I only had a few months left on my military enlistment and I planned on re-enlisting, but I told her she should go ahead and apply for it. 2 days later, she gets an interview. Our visit back home ended and we were back at the base we were stationed at, and about a week after her interview she got a call with a job offer. I was hesitant about getting out of the military, but considered how she had followed me throughout the military and supported me, I decided it was my turn to follow her and let her live her dream. She moved back home and started her job while I stayed where we were stationed at for my last 3 months before my enlistment ended. We bought a house down there, and when I moved back, I found myself a job. Fast forward 3 years later, my wife is still at her dream job and absolutely thriving. She had already been promoted to a senior position. I had just hit my 2 years mark at one of the best companies in the town. She's making decent pay, and I am making really good pay. We are doing better than we ever could have imagined, living an absolute dream. Until this past weekend, my wife had to go to work on Saturday, so I decided to go on a short trip to a town about 1 hour away to see some of my family while she was at work. While I am out of the town, she called me. She tells me that we need to separate for a while. She tells me that she's not doing good mentally, and anxiety, depression, and she really needs to be away from me for a while to work on herself. I'm shocked. We have never done anything like this. I tried to talk to her, but she tells me that there is nothing I can do to change her mind. She wants me out of the house for 1 month, and if I don't do as she asks, she will contact an attorney. I know that there is no legal action that could be taken against me because the house is in both our names, but I agreed to leave. She lets me come to the house while she isn't there to get some of my stuff. I find a place to stay for a while. I think to myself that there is no way she really wants me gone for a month, and she will probably wake up tomorrow and feel better and ask me to come home. I love my wife more than anything, and if she needs space from me to work on herself and her mental problems, I am going to do whatever she needs. I woke up in the next morning and have a Facebook message from a woman I don't know, and it says, "I am so sorry for what my husband did to ruin your marriage." My heart literally sank. I asked the woman what she's talking about. She asked me, "You didn't know that my husband and your wife have been seeing each other?" At this point, I am absolutely overcome with dread. This is literally a nightmare. Surely not my wife, not in a million years. I call my wife and I am surprised she answers. I tell her about the message from this woman and ask her what it's all about. She tells me that the man is someone she works with and that his wife is just crazy and that none of what she says is true. I listen to what this lady has to say and I'm also talking to my wife on and off. Eventually my wife tells me that this man had recently confessed he had feelings for her, but she doesn't like him back. A few hours later, my wife changes her story and admits that this man confessed his feeling to her and she feels the same towards him. But this time, I am feeling physically ill from the stress and emotional pain. Now my wife tells me that she wants a divorce. She claims that she's not having a relationship with this man and that she wants a divorce because I verbally and emotionally abuse her. I am just speechless. I have never once abused her in any way whatsoever. My wife stops talking to me for the rest of the day and I continue talking to this man's wife, getting the details of what has happened on her side. She said that her husband and my wife both went into work that Saturday morning to plan how they were going to leave their spouses. in order to be with one another. They left their office around noon. He went home and told his wife he wants a divorce. He told her that he had been talking to my wife and that she would be leaving me as well. This is happening at the same time my wife had called me and demanded I get out of the house. I called to confront my wife about this. She gets angry and denies it. My wife and I are talking very little at this point and have not seen each other in person since she left for work that Saturday morning. The next day is Monday. I get up, go to work, and talk to some of my co-workers about what's happening. One of my co-workers informs me that I can go to our online account for our cell phone plan and see logs of when and to who text messages were sent. I do that and find almost 500 text messages sent between my wife and this man in the past 3 weeks alone. There is also over 400 minutes of phone conversations between the two of them in the last 3 days alone. I look through all of it. They had been texting each other every single day for the last 3 weeks. Almost every night, they stayed up texting each other until 2 in the morning while we are in bed together. I am asleep and she's awake talking to this man. I cannot believe this, but my wife has been cheated on me. She has to be cheating. There is no other explanation. 2 days later, we speak again, and I confront her in a very calm manner. I hadn't been angry or talked rude to her at all during this whole thing. I ask her, have you been cheated on me with this man for the last 3 weeks? She says no. She says that they have feelings for one another but are not in any kind of a relationship, and claims she's only divorcing me due to the mental, verbal abuse she receives from me. I send her copies of all the text message logs, present the evidence to her. I tell her that she's lying and that this is proof. She quickly turns angry and accuses me of being a liar and a cheater. I ask her what I am lying about and who I am cheating on her with. She doesn't answer either of the questions. Instead, she starts telling me that someone is feeding me lies and she feels sorry for me because I think that she is in some sort of relationship with this man. Later that night, we end up talking to each other on the phone again. She says that she wants to talk to me, but she refuses to talk about what's going on between her and this other guy. I agree to not bring it up, so we spend an hour on the phone talking about everything else. Feelings, where we go from here, and why she feels that I emotionally verbally abuse her. She brings up times that I have said mean things to her and done things just to mess with her head. Example, one time, about a year ago, we were having a bad argument, so I packed a bag to make it look like I was going to leave the house for the night. In reality, wasn't going to leave. I guess I did it to make her ask me to not leave, to express how upset I was. I have also said mean things to her in the past, such as telling her she's acting immature, she's embarrassing me, and she needs to grow up. I spent time reflecting on all of these events she has brought up, and I realized I didn't always treat her the best. Granted that she also had her fair share of treating me bad as well. We eventually end our phone call to go to sleep. I'm feeling a little better about everything, but I still need answers about what's happening between her and this other guy. I wake up the next morning and I decide to go online and check the text messages logs. It's always showing the most recent calls, texts. After viewing the most recent ones, I realized that while we were on the phone last night for an hour talking about everything and kind of trying to fix things, she had been texting this man the whole time. The entire time we were talking on the phone, she was messaging him at the same time. I decide enough is enough. If we are getting a divorce, I deserve to know the truth. I call her and she answers. I tell her that I am really upset, embarrassed to say, but I'm crying. I've cried a lot the past few days. First, I tell her that I know they were texting each other last night while her and I were on the phone. She doesn't deny it. She explained that they were both watching a football or basketball game and were texting each other to talk about the game. I cannot believe this. After all these years, she's more concerned about talking to this man about a ball game than speaking with me about our marriage. I am absolutely devastated. I explained to her that I need to know the truth. She finally agrees to tell me. She admits that they have been developing this relationship over the last month. They work together and they talk a lot. She goes to him at work and cries in his office if she's feeling sad. He has a way with words that I don't, and he makes her feel special and notice. But I don't give her that feeling anymore. She expresses that their relationship has strictly just been talking and having feelings for one another, and that they have not had sex. I do believe her when she says they haven't had sex. She says she will arrange the divorce with an attorney and be in touch. I feel a little peace with everything, but cannot understand why I am not mad. My wife betrayed me, pursued another man in secret, has talked about a future with this man, and has talked about having sex with him in the future. Yet, I am not angry. This guy's wife has also told me that my wife is the third woman that he has done this with. He will find a younger girl, take off with her for a few months, then come back. She says that she always takes him back for the sake of their children. I consider that this man is taking advantage of my wife. When we had last talked and settled everything, I had mentioned that possibility. I told her that she is not the first woman he has done this with. Ask her to please consider that he might be taking advantage of her. If you have made it thus far, thank you. My questions, dear friend. If you were faced with something similar to what happened to this man, how would you react? And what you should have done?